Saving Society Australia, Commercial Aquatics Australia, OTM Sport and Leisure Planning Group, YMCA Victoria, the Victoria State Government Health and Human Services Department, Belgravia Leisure, Cleaning Melbourne, VACA, Align Leisure, Watering on Water, EcoSave, and Western Leisure Services. So today's session is around moving your fitness business or your business online. It's about strategically placing yourself during the COVID-19 state of emergency. We've got Sam Greenwood as the owner and managing director of Fit Academy. So a little bit about Sam. So Sam, the Fit Academy is a strength conditioning and functional club operating in the northern suburbs of Melbourne. In previous roles, Sam was the national fitness manager for Belgravia Leisure and has previously held a number of club management roles and project roles with YMCA Victoria. Sam's specific area of expertise is identifying industry trends and developing group training programs that hit the mark. Examples of Sam's influence on key programs is seen through hundreds of leisure centres nationally in the coaching zone and adrenaline programs that some of you would be familiar with. In his personal life, Sam is a semi-professional skydiver and former semi-professional MMA athlete. So if you've got questions for Sam in either of those areas as well, I'm sure he'd be happy to talk your ear off about those areas. So probably without any sort of further hogging of screen time from me, I'll hand over to you, Sam. It'd be great to hear from you. And I've just got you on mute. Apologies, you have to unmute yourself.
Cheers, RJ. Thanks for the introduction. Welcome to everyone who's jumped on today. As RJ said, I'm the managing director and owner of Fit Academy. Had a few different roles with some of the big leisure companies around Australia over the last few years. And today, what I'm going to be talking about is it's a mix of a few things. It's the process that I took to transform my business from face-to-face to online over the course of a couple of days. So I'm going to share that story with you. And then I'm also going to, along the way, share some of the tools that I used on how to achieve that. And hopefully that gives you guys some insights onto some of the things that you can do now. And then also we're going to talk a little bit about what the changes in the fitness industry are going to look like moving forward past this pandemic. So don't kind of expect that things will go back to normal and be the same as they always were. We're expecting probably some big changes after the end of lockdown. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. As RJ said, if you guys have some questions, just chuck them in the chat box. I'll periodically check that. Otherwise, we'll have some time towards the end as well, just to have a bit of a discussion around how all this looks and what the future kind of holds for us in the fitness industry. So what I'm going to do, RJ just posted something in the chat box saying it'd be great to hear from you where you work and what your role is. I think that'd be really helpful. There's going to be aspects of this that you'll find will be really useful. You'll get a really good understanding of what you should do as a personal trainer, or what you should do as a business owner, or to a bigger extent, what role you can play if you're working at a leisure centre, and how you can incorporate your leisure centre to partially online as well. So if you chuck into the chat box kind of where you're from, that'll be really handy for us to have an idea of how this is kind of going to be tailored for you. All right, so I'm going to share, guys, my story to start off with, and give you guys a bit of an idea of what happened from the course of when it was announced that we were going into lockdown. Fitness centres had to close as of midday on Monday, the 16th of March, I think it was, or the week after, the 22nd or 23rd, something like that. So basically what had happened is it had been announced online, and we had to close as of midday the following day on the Monday. And so in that time, I essentially called in every contact, every favor that I had, worked with every partner and relationship that I had, and delegated as much as I could as well to my coaches and my team at Fit Academy, so that we could start to put together an online platform, because we knew we had to close our doors, and this was the way that it was heading. And that didn't mean that we would close up shop, or we would kind of not provide our members any support. So we really had to work pretty quickly in this instance, and it's certainly an uncertain area. We haven't experienced this in our lifetime before, so for us, we didn't really have an opportunity to gather some intel or gather some information on, well, this is what's been done in the past. So being that it was so uncertain and unknown, people are typically, I'm sure all of you guys have experienced this either yourselves with your members or with people you know, people really fear the unknown. So the typical standpoint for people is to be like, well, I just need to remove all costs at this point. So a lot of clubs at this point are going to have people cancelling, people suspending, and that type of thing, because they're afraid of what's going to happen. They don't know how to, maybe they don't know where to allocate their money at this time, or if they're going to have a job. So we had to do a lot of work around providing them comfort in the fact that we're going to support them and do whatever we can in that sense, as well as ensure that they're still going to have access to some sort of health and well-being, because obviously this is a time where well-being can drop off a fair bit, and spending so much time at home, not working, having a lot of downtime, I suppose, for some people anyway. So we spent a fair bit of time pulling together some sort of platform, and I'm going to talk you through what that looks like now, and I'm going to show you an example of it too. So I'm just going to share my screen. All right. RJ, is that screen coming up?
So I can see your Microsoft Teams window, and now I can see your PowerPoint window. Yep, there we go.
Alrighty, guys. So the tagline that we use through this process that we put out as communications to our members and to our community was, the physical doors have closed, but our virtual doors are open. So we had provided a lot of communication through this period, through the first couple of days to our members. And this is essentially really the most key point that you can do. You've really got to provide, it doesn't matter exactly where you know or where you are at this stage, whether you've developed online, whether you haven't, you just need to have a plan, and you need to communicate that on a regular basis to your clients. If you're a business owner, if you own a studio or a small club, you have to keep them in the loop as much as possible through this process. So getting started is really around your mindset. What is it that you want to achieve? You have to have a very clear plan here of what you're going to get through, what your goals are, what ideas you're going to come up with. This is the time to sit yourself down and go, we need to develop what our new platform or what our new program or what our new fitness or health offering is going to be. So you've got to act quickly here if you haven't already.
I know. Are you sure?
Let's get you guys to mute. I'm hearing some feedback.
I want something.
Please make sure you're muted.
Are you sure? I'm going to.
Sorry, Sam. I've just muted them.
Cheers, mate. All right. So, you've got to have a really clear idea of what these goals are. It's very easy in this time to kind of lose track of time or not have necessarily a lot of routine. So you need to allocate the time. You need to figure out your tasks, and you need to apply this to what you're going to create. So if you're, like I mentioned before, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a PT, whether you're a leisure club, you might currently be offering something, you might not be offering anything at all. But whatever it is, you can always expand upon it. You can also always offer more services to ensure that your existing client base remains with you, and also so that you're able to attain additional clients through your virtual or online program. So really key here, you guys have to come up with the goals. What is it you want to achieve? Be really clear about that. What is it that you want to offer? And then start preparing. You've got to be observant. You need to be aware of what's going on. what's changing. Make sure you're on top of all the latest news that's coming through, because there's always things you can adapt and change within your offering. So along with that, making sure that you are constantly communicating with your client base around what it is that you are going to provide. If you've got an idea of what you're going to provide, but don't have all the things worked out yet, still communicate that. Make sure that they feel comfortable and they feel safe. Like I said earlier, this is the unknown for a lot of people, and it's a very easy out for people to just go, for now, I just need to cancel my membership. That's it. I need to step away, and then I can figure out what to do later on. That's I'm sure that you guys have experienced that or done it yourself with other areas. I thought to myself, what can I cut here? What of my debits can I cut to make sure that I'm not spending unnecessary money right now? The gyms, for a lot of people, is the first thing to go. Despite the health impact that we know it has and the mental impact that we know it has, that's the first thing to go for a lot of people. So you've really got to make them feel comfortable first and foremost. If you want to retain your clients and you want to continually support them, you have to make them feel like you're looking out for them and you've got a plan in place. Because the longer this pandemic goes on for, or the longer that we're in lockdown, the more likely people will start to drop off. So make sure you've set your systems up well. Set the goal that you are planning to implement, come up with those ideas and communicate it. The next thing is collaboration. So collaborate, a key kind of term that I've always lived by and worked by is collaboration, not competition. When we first went into lockdown, at that point, I'd done a few combined challenges with another club called Peachy Personal Training. We'd done a couple of things together. We'd combined forces to provide the unique offerings that we both have to our collective membership base. And for some small studio clubs, like we both have 150 plus members. So for our clubs, this is a combined membership base of over 300 members that we're now providing the services that both of us would provide to each of our individual membership base. Not only that, but collaborating with someone will help you complete more work in a shorter amount of time. You can split the tasks, you can come up with more ideas together, and you're able to support each other in what's going on right now. So and now the two of us, our two clubs, are now looking for more collaborators. We're wanting more people that we can collaborate with. We're wanting more people that we can share knowledge with. So this is really key, guys. Collaboration, not competition. Our clubs are 3 Ks away from each other, and we're both group training. We both offer shared PT. We both offer one-on-one. We both offer seminars and education. We have very similar offerings, but we are not competing against each other. We are combining our resources so that we can get more done in a short amount of time. And this is how I transformed my face-to-face business to online in 3 days, with a combination of us working in collaboration. So don't think of collaborating with another club. Don't think of them as your competition. You can use each other to support. So as well as working with Peachy PT, we've also combined forces with a few different other areas that really completes this club as a well-being, health and holistic approach to our members and to the services that we offer. So it's really important for you guys to try and find people and collaborate with people that are going to be able to help progress your business, but also retain your clients. Make your club a one-stop shop. We have a mindset coach who runs regular seminars, but as well as runs a ongoing workshop with people who sign up to it, who are focused all on mindset. So she's able to help people who aren't having the best time or are struggling with what's going on at the moment to get them in the right mindset. We've got a physiotherapist who does virtual calls with people, online consults, so that he can take people through their injuries and identify what's going on and then help them. We have a nutritionist who runs a similar sort of workshops to our mindset coach. We have a peak performance and stress management coach. So like I said, across those couple of days when we heard from lockdown to me getting my online platform up, I called in every favor that I possibly had so that we could combine all this knowledge and start providing my membership base and the membership base of the clubs that we collaborate with this type of service. So from all that, we are now effectively making a one-stop shop for our members. Not every avenue you take needs to be a moneymaker. You don't have to be taking a big cut from any of this stuff, but consider the retention. If people are getting injured, or if people are stressed because of what's going on at the moment, or they're losing their jobs, or they're just not feeling comfortable or safe, then use the support from other people who have the knowledge so that they can provide effectively the support to your membership base. You don't need to take a big cut out of this, or you don't need to make it necessarily a lot of money, but consider the effect that it's having on your retention. So this is really important, guys. Go out there and find people to collaborate with, get them to help support you, support them, and then find knowledge in other areas so that you're able to provide your clients a greater service. Who wants to leave a community that offers them everything? And if you don't know it, refer it out. Find support. We don't all know everything. Now it's really important to figure out what it is that you are going to offer. So from the Sunday night to the Tuesday night, when we had this platform, we had to get this platform up from when we went down into lockdown. During that time, we had a really hard think about what it was that we were going to offer. What were the fitness services? What were the nutrition services? What education were we going to provide to our members? How are we going to help them with their mindset, and how are we going to keep them accountable? So this is what we came up with the skills, the knowledge that you have, or you and your collaborators have. You've got to come up with this service. If you're already offering a service, maybe you're doing some Zoom workouts, maybe you're doing recorded workouts, whatever it is you're doing, I would highly advise you need to increase your service offering to cover as many areas as possible. And like I said, if you don't have the knowledge, find someone who does and collaborate with them. So figure out what that offering is fast, guys, because we are the less that you're offering, or the less they feel like your members feel like they're being supported, the less they will stay with you. So figure out what that offering is, what's going to set you apart, identify areas that you know that they will need or they want, and then start putting that together. Come up with that offer. I've got mine. I've got the offer that I provide. I've got what it's called. Your tagline can be whatever. It could be boosting your health from anywhere in the world. It could be, I love the words boosting or amplifying or enhancing, all this kind of stuff. What can you do from the comfort of your own home? So come up with what your offer is called, and package it and tagline it. And if you need help with that, let me know. But basically all you need to think about is, once you've come up with these things, what it is that you're going to offer, that will dictate what you're going to call your package and how you're going to name it and how you're going to be able to put it out to there. So reflect on what you're offering, and that will provide you a good understanding of what that offer then looks like as a package. Like I said, if you're a business owner and you're offering something, what else are you going to offer? Add to it. It can't be just as simple as some Zoom workouts, guys. We've got to provide a fair bit of service here. You've really got to go above and beyond. All right, so exercise. So have a think about what elements you're going to provide here. What is included in your fitness offering? If you've got knowledge in rehab, or you've got knowledge in movement restoration, or being able to screen people's movement, then include that in your service. Do movement screens and come up with a corrective exercise plan for people. You can do this in groups of people. You could have group movement restoration calls. Provide virtual workouts, virtual sessions via Zoom, recorded workouts, one-on-ones, shared PTs, semi-privates, whatever it is that you're going to provide, make sure you're bundling, packaging, and valuing the hell out of your offer. All right. So it's not just about the fitness offering anymore. It's about how you're going to keep your clients and members entertained. So provide them entertainment in a sense as well. Provide them skits in your recorded workouts or bloopers or different ways of exercising at home with household items. Whatever it is you've got to do, make sure that when they're engaged in your content, they're wanting to look at your content. It's not enough to just stand in front of a camera with a monotonal voice and say, this is our workout today. This is what we're going to do. This is how you do the technique. Like, provide them some level of entertainment so they're engaged in your content, whether you've got a member-only page or whatever it might be, a group chat. Make sure that the content that you're putting out there is something that they look forward to seeing. We recently did a member survey a couple of weeks after we launched our virtual platform, and one of the questions was, do you engage in our content? And over 80% of the people said, we had a multiple choice option. Over 80% of the people who completed the survey of our membership base, which is 300 plus in collaboration with our other club, we had people come back and select the option that said, I read absolutely everything that you send out. I'm so engaged in your content. So that's really important, guys. It's not enough just to provide a workout. Like, how are you going to make them want to see the content that you're putting out there? Like, they look forward to that day, the Monday release or the Thursday release or whatever it might be. Make sure that they are looking forward to that.
So, sorry to jump in there, Sam. I just wanted to sort of just say this is really, really interesting, and it's almost creating that cult-like following, isn't it? It's about sort of getting people to want to be a follower of you and your brand, as creating that sort of personality influencer type, not just another service and noise.
Absolutely, yeah, spot on, RJ. We have a really good, so we've got a Facebook member only page that has maybe just over 200 people in it, and they create the content for us. So they are so engaged in the offering that we're providing that they are putting things up. They're putting their workouts up. They're putting what they're cooking up, and they're creating their own polls and surveys of other members to answer, and they support each other. So it absolutely is like that cult following. You need to have people believe so much in your brand that they want to support you, and that's what it's all about. Like, I'm supporting my members as much as possible, and they are playing a massive part in supporting me and my business too. So and anyone who owns a small business and has owned one for a long time, you'll understand this. But yeah, absolutely. And I'll talk a little bit more about accountability soon, but it's getting the support from your members. Like, they want to help you. They believe in your brand. So allow that and encourage that.
So if you don't mind me, do you mind if I ask a question now, or should we leave questions there?
Go for it.
So our chief operating officers just dropped a comment in with a question, and it sounds like you're sort of answering that question, which is why I'm asking it. So he was saying, how does the small business differentiate themselves from the bigger fish? Like PE with Joe, as opposed to a celebrity trainer. You look at some of these apps and things like that are coming out. So it sounds like you've created community and almost a cult-like following. Do you have any sort of other insights into sort of competing with those celebrity type trainers and that type of business?
Yeah, so there's a couple of elements. There's knowledge. So it's demonstrating that you have the knowledge to help people in the areas that they need. So for me, my background is from a fitness, less from a business point of view and more from a fitness point of view. My background is in rehab, movement restoration, and strength and conditioning. So when people come to me, I work heavily on alleviating pain. So, and I demonstrate to them that on a daily basis. I make sure that if they are experiencing pain at any point, they contact me and I ask them a few questions, and then I show them how they can alleviate that or how I can support them in that area. So the first step is like having knowledge in an area that you will constantly be providing your members support in, to ensure that they know that by going to you, they are being taken care of. So you have the knowledge to support them. And I'm going to talk a little bit later on about getting some of that knowledge. But yeah, that's super important to ensure that you're providing them knowledge in a key area so that they feel looked after. Then the second part is creating a community within your club so that the members are like, I can't tell you how many members here we have that go out and like organize things to do on the weekend, go for hikes or go for breakfast or whatever it is, that met in our club. So when people come to the club, we set them up with like a buddy. So someone who's been at the club for a little while, we set a new member up with them and on a time slot that they will both be coming to. So let's say they're both 6:30 a.m. kind of members. They come to those early morning sessions. Then they work out together. We have a lot of partnered or paired workouts, so they're with them. And obviously we approach the member who's the buddy first, and we say, hey, do you mind if we pair you up with this person? They're new. No problem. Great. So we pair them up with that person. And then the third element of that community is we have social events on a monthly basis. That's just an opportunity. And they can be really basic. You know, it could just be a barbecue, or it could be a hike that we go on, or we've done movie nights in our club. We've done trivia nights. We've done, I've taken all the members skydiving, and we've gone up to the wineries in Ngambie. So rock climbing, whatever it is, just come up with a social calendar so that you're creating an opportunity for people to socialize within your environment, to the point where people I've been told, or in our surveys, we get a lot of feedback that this is the club that made people want to go to the gym. That's what you need to create.
So a little disclaimer here for listeners. I've been a member at Sam's gym when it was opening up, and he certainly whipped me into shape pretty quickly. And there is a really good community there. So I can also sort of vouch for this community as well that Sam's created.
Cheers, mate. So I hope that answers the question. I'll move on. I know we don't have a huge amount of time left. So what does the future look like? We're going to talk about that a little bit towards the end. I was going to touch on it now, but we'll talk about it towards the end, and how will things change. We'll go through that too. So that's how things are going to change specifically from an exercise point of view. Then like provide timetables and update those timetables on a regular basis. What do your members want? You're here for the members. You're not here for you. So whatever you have the opportunity to allocate time for, whether it's yourself, whether it's other coaches, whatever it might be, make sure you're allocating enough time to provide members what they need, and then ask for feedback on a constant basis so that they feel like you're providing, or you are providing them with things that they actually need and want. So this timetable is about probably 60 to 70% of what my normal timetable looks like. But yeah, it's still quite a large offering for people to have the opportunity to jump into sessions pretty much any time of the day that's going to suit them, for people who are both working and not working. All right. Nutrition. Can you partner with someone? Can you find someone that can support you with nutrition? Can you find someone that has the knowledge there? And then what can you do yourself? You don't need to be a nutritionist or a dietitian to help them with nutrition. You just focus on habit coaching rather than focusing on you know, the content exactly of the food and what their meal plan should be. If you don't have that knowledge, or you don't feel comfortable giving that knowledge out, then you don't need to. All you need to do is provide them tips or coach them on their ability to create habits. Otherwise, find someone that you can partner with. And then, do you have the capacity to develop an online hub? Could you find someone to partner with who could develop a bunch of recipes for you that you can put in a recipe library, and then develop that online. So some of these things, just have a think about what capacity do you have to demonstrate value in nutrition. Because if you're not offering nutrition, you are missing a very big element of health and well-being. You've got to offer something in nutrition. As small as it might be, you've got to offer something there. It partners very well with exercise. And if you're only offering exercise, then people will look for nutrition advice elsewhere. And if they find that, and especially if they find somewhere that is offering exercise too, and they're not as connected to your club, or they're not a part of the community as much as they should be, then they will leave. Accountability. So you can see there, like this is a screenshot from my member only page. There's like a bunch of stuff that we had planned. Obviously, some of those things have gone out the window now because of lockdown. But this was like a bit of a calendar for the year ahead, our 2020 social events. So what does your support and accountability look like? How are you going to provide accountability? Are you going to do check-ins with people regularly? Are you going to pair people into buddies? Are you going to pair them into groups that they can look after each other, and you just check in with that group every now and then? How are you going to make sure that your community runs itself? Have constant content going up on that member Facebook group. There is no point in having a group if you don't have daily content, if not twice daily. Ideally, something from yourself and something from one of your members. You might look to some of your key members to support you to start off with. You might look to them and say, hey, can you post up some of your recipes? We ran a seminar. We run a lockdown seminar or an education series every Wednesday night. And this Wednesday night, the one just gone, we had one of our members do a cooking class. She's a scientist and she's a cook. And so she's got a lot of nutritional information as well as having the ability to cook quite well. So she ran a cooking class for 2 hours. So how are you going to look to your members to support you as well? Because they can help. Have weekly content going out via emails. So you're constantly providing that support. That could be in the form of a recorded workout, or, we have a Pilates workout, a yoga workout, a strength and conditioning workout, a boxing workout, animal flow workout, pretty much go out every week. And demonstrate the value in your community, in your service. Education, I just touched on. This is a great opportunity. Members often think, they're like, oh no, I don't have the time to listen to the things that you want to teach me. But demonstrate this knowledge that you've got to them now. This is the perfect time. They're sitting at home. They have less to do. They can't go out at night. So how are you going to educate them on things so that when they come back to the live club, they have a lot more knowledge and understanding of training, and they can enhance their training? So what are you going to provide to them from an education point of view so that they feel like they have more control over their health and fitness? Find the areas of health and fitness that members typically have gaps in. Is it understanding how to build a habit? Is it understanding the science behind a habit? Is it nutrition tips? Is it understanding how to move or recover well? Recovery is becoming, let me tell you guys, recovery is becoming the biggest aspect of the health and well-being industry. So if you want to be ahead of the industry, start focusing on recovery. So how can you provide education in these areas? If you want to contact me and you want me to come and provide or do a Zoom call and do a seminar, then let me know. So what are the people that you can bring in with areas of expertise to help you provide this education to your members or your client base?
I'm glad our COO is listening, Sam, because I think we could get you down to our gym at the office and give it a bit of a fit out and whip all of our staff into shape. Get them all motivated. I know we just finished Active April and we had people working on that, but we'd love to certainly work with you more.
More than happy to do that, mate. Absolutely love sharing knowledge and educating people as much as I can. That's my biggest passion. So, so we've spoken about the education series. So now we've spoken a lot about what you're going to offer, how you're going to support your members, but it's not just your members that you need to look at. We can still grow in this time. So since lockdown, I've had 21 members sign up to our online only platform. So, not huge numbers in terms of sales, but when we're talking about the current state that we're in, it's something that is quite challenging to acquire new members right now. So how are you going to package something that you can provide to members, or sorry, to prospects, that they're going to be like, yep, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I need in the current state that I'm in. And while I said earlier that on one hand, the longer this goes on for, the more likely that people are to drop off. Also, the more likely that people are to pick up, in terms of they will start doing something because they're like, I can't just wait this out anymore. I can't just expect for me to get back to normal when all the gyms open up again and get straight back into training the way that I was before. So they are going to be looking for some element of health that you can provide them during this time. So figure out what that offer is, figure out what the services are that you're going to provide. Like I said at the start of the presentation, once you've got those offerings set up, package it and have a couple of different offers. Have, you've got your unlimited access to your Zoom calls or your recorded workouts or your nutrition coaching or your mindset coaching, and your access to your community and accountability and your Facebook page and the ongoing education that you provide. And then offer 2 might be a premium, where you've got personal training sessions a week and you work on their movement restoration. Whatever your knowledge or your skill set lies in, capitalize on that, or collaborate with someone that has knowledge there and then capitalize on that. So provide a few options, provide upfront options, provide weekly options. Have a package that you can provide to people. All right, what's next? So how will you adapt? This is the stuff that you need to be looking at right now. What is it? What are the packages you're going to be able to put together? What are the services you're going to be able to put together? Who are you going to collaborate with? Who are you going to look to for support? How are you going to get your members on board or your clients on board so that they can help you as well? Because if you own a small business, or even if you don't own a small business and you're a manager in a leisure company, there are a community of people who love what you do. It doesn't matter what you say or what you tell them or what you preach, they will follow every word. So access them, encourage them, get them to help you just as much as you're supporting them. And we've got to really be aware of what happens after this situation. This has changed the game. This has totally changed the game going into lockdown, and understanding that we can't all be locked into a location. Not only for this circumstance, but also for growing long term. Like, essentially, for every one of you that owns a club, works in a club, you are a geo-locked business. You only have access to people in your vicinity. Yes, there are going to be people that move out and other people that move in, but to a degree, you only have access to those people within your radius. So if you're online, there is no geo-lock. You are not locked into having members from your community or your radius. You can get members from anywhere in the country or the world. So with this in mind, how are you going to now transform your business to stay online long term, not just during lockdown and then we get back out of lockdown and we're like, whew, I survived, right? Don't have that mentality. The mentality is not, let's just survive this. It's how do we thrive through this, and how do we come out the other end with services that we never had? I know that this lockdown has absolutely kicked my butt. There's been things that I've wanted to do for years. I've been wanting to put stuff online for years and create an app and an online platform, and I've never got around to doing it. And all of a sudden, I did it in a couple of days because there was no other option. So it has really kicked my butt when it comes to developing things that I've wanted to do. So use this as an opportunity, but make sure you're clear on what you're wanting to achieve. It's hard if you're not really sure, and then you chop and change. So how are you going to develop this for the future? There are going to be group training changes. We are not going to, it's not going to be big, massive group classes anymore. Especially when we get straight back out of lockdown, it will be a staged approach going back to inverted commas normal, but it's not going to be 30 people in a session. That's not going to happen. It's going to be 10 people in a session. So how are you going to adapt for that? How are you going to, if that's going to mean that you have less members in every session, well, how are you going to increase your yield and offer more service in those sessions so that it's more valuable? Right? You can't just cut your numbers down and charge the same sort of price. In the current stance that we're in and the online service that you're offering, you've got to figure out what that cost is. And if it takes you the same amount of time than any other service that you normally provide is, then you need to charge the same amount. Don't charge less. Don't charge less for all this service and all this work that you're putting in. It's got to be the same amount. So there's going to be a fair few changes that'll be short term, but potentially long term as well. Don't expect things to go back to normal the way that they were. And the key here is making sure you're up to date. Educate yourself. Identify your gaps and fill them. What courses do you need to go and do? Do you need to understand more about rehab so you can help people online right now? There are so many good quality, really high quality education out there at the moment that you can have access to that are online. Look at companies like Functional Training Institute. Look at their movement restoration coach courses. Look at PH360 and their personalized health. These are outstanding courses that will provide you knowledge so that you can provide a service that members or clients or people of the community really need access to. So identify what your gaps are and go out and educate yourself. Do the courses that you need to. And if you need help, if you need some guidance, my email is there. Hit me up. That is my presentation on physical doors closing and virtual doors opening, how I've transformed the face-to-face business to online. The one last thing I do want to show you guys just quickly, I'll just give you a quick example, is what this platform looks like. So this is basically the online platform. It's a member-only login. They scroll through. They've got access to our nutrition hub with recipes, our timetable. They've got access to our links for our AM and PM sessions on Zoom, our live sessions, our education series. They've got access to all of our recorded workouts and what we've been calling our lockdown lowdowns, which is our education series. They've got the ability to book in a check-in with us or a one-on-one, and they have our our nutrition library.
So you've created a sort of a member portal, which is a one-stop shop, like you said before. So yep. I've been furiously taking notes here, and I saw Mevin dropped in sort of a thank you for answering his question, as well as sort of saying, with your response to how do you compete against the big fish, he sort of summarized what you said, which is make it targeted, make it personal, and make it local community. He also mentioned that obviously I'm in the best shape that he's ever seen for peak physical conditioning. Thanks, Mevin. I appreciate it. I
will note it's been a while since RJ's been at my club.
Well, it's been once you achieve perfection, you don't want to mess with the recipe too much. But so you've got some other points here. Collaboration, not competition. We're very big believers in that, both at LSV and Fitness Australia, as evidenced by this series and a number of other things that we do. You talked about calling in favors, and really what you were sort of building on there is not just internally and externally, but the foundation of everything that you've been doing is building good relationships. It sounds like you've been sort of touching around building really good relationships, making people feel comfortable, becoming a trusted advisor, becoming a guide, a coach, a mentor. People are looking for leadership right now, and that can be at any level, whether that be as a community center, or whether it be to your personal trainer, or to whatever it is, the government, the media, whatever. People are desperate for leadership because there's so much uncertainty. So if you can create that, which you have, and that's what you've sort of been talking about, is creating those relationships and creating that leadership. You talked about members creating community, buddy time slots, creating accountability, and your community will run itself in some respects. And then you talked about creating a sort of social calendar of sort of accessory activities that that your members, your customers, your clients can do that connects them with you and your brand that isn't necessarily just the product that you are selling. So I've just sort of tried to summarize those things just if anyone, does anyone have any sort of questions for Sam? We've got about 5 to 10 minutes left. We've had a couple of comments come through. We've got Jonathan Duke, owner of Duke's Over 50s Health and Fitness Club. We've got Kelly Smart, Lakes Entrance Aquadome. We've got, I saw Luke de Pascal's there from Monash Health. There's a few familiar names in there as well. Matthew Blee from Brimbank. We've got, there's quite a few names I don't recognize. Apologies. We've got Marcus Cook up in Shepparton, facility manager of Aquamoves. So we've got quite a few sort of familiar names in there. Has anyone got a question for Sam? Feel free to drop it in the chat. We've
on that as well. While you're talking about like the community, just remember, guys, like don't expect that your members owe you anything. Your members don't owe you anything. Don't expect that you can provide them a heap of support and you have changed their lives so they will be with you forever. It's constant. It's daily. Continue to support them in your community. Include them in your community. Don't expect that your members owe you. They never owe you. You owe them.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of noise out there too at the moment, and you're providing value. Look, certainly from an organizational perspective, you can apply a lot of the things that you're saying, Sam, to anything. I look at some of the strategies that we've been working on in our organization, and there's a lot of alignment with what you're saying. So whether it be looking at a small fitness business, if there's anyone listening, whether it be looking at a health club, or whether it's looking at a large organization that's an industry organization, there's certainly lots of takeaways in sort of creating community and collaboration and finding knowledge. If you don't hold that knowledge, find the knowledge from someone that does hold that knowledge. There's a lot to take away from that, Sam. So we've got a few thumbs up and smiley faces coming through, but no sort of questions or burning questions. So look, if anyone if they're thinking about it a little bit more, they'd like to get in touch. Sam's put his contact details up in there, and we've linked his LinkedIn profile in our newsletter that we sent out, and certainly you can find it from my LinkedIn. I'm just RJ Houston. If you search that, I'm sure you can search Sam Greenwood as well, and he's probably on LinkedIn. You can get in touch that way. And I'd just like to thank you on behalf of Fitness Australia and Lifesaving Victoria, Sam, for your time today and for sharing your sort of knowledge and your approach. It's been really valuable for myself, if no one else. I've certainly enjoyed the session, and I'll sort of throw it out there. If there's any last questions there, we've got Trudy saying thanks, Sam. I'm not sure if you remember Trudy from Dandenong Oasis. Trudy works in the LSV team now. David Rowe as well from Kensington Community Rec Centre. I'll probably leave it there. Thanks, Sam.
No worries at all. Cheers, RJ. Thanks, guys.
Okay, everyone. Well, thanks very much, everyone, for participating. Next week, we've got Christy Boucher from Guild Insurance talking about insurance and risk management. We have Chantal Broderick talking about productivity habits. We've got Fiona Crieres coming back to us again, supporting mental health and wellness. And then Hannah Batista, customer-focused innovation, talking about the customer experience in sort of larger facilities. And once again, to end the session, you can just hang up the call, and I will hang it up myself in about 5 minutes. Thanks again, everyone.